Who is that famous person who has so influenced you, you want to be like them? Until you meet them and realize, I don't want to be like them at all. G'day everyone, Brian here. I'm just going to read what Paul writes about being like Jesus. I want to know Christ and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of sharing in his sufferings, becoming like him in his death, and so somehow to attain to the resurrection from the dead. I find these couple of verses strange. Not the first bit. I want to know Christ. That makes perfect sense. Now, I've had the chance to meet some people who were kind of my idols, and it's been a bit deflating to recognise that, maybe our standards are very, very different, and I might appreciate your musical abilities, but I'm not sure I actually want to be like you. Not so with Jesus though. For Paul, he says, I want to know Christ so that I might be like him. I want to say the same thing. I want to know Jesus, to know him not just as a historical figure, not just as a distant relation, but as a dear friend, as a brother, as a teacher, as a mentor, as someone who walks with me. I want to know Christ. And then Paul lists off these interesting statements. To know Christ and the power of his resurrection. Oh, to know the joy of the resurrection, that my death will not be final, that there is something beyond this suffering life to something greater. I want to know the fellowship of sharing in his sufferings. That's a strange thing to ask, isn't it? Why would I choose to suffer? And yet that's what Paul is saying. If Jesus suffered for me, who am I to say that I should not suffer for him? It's very much the testimony of Christian people through the ages that we suffer. It may not be the experience in Australia, and it might be soon. I want to become like him in his death. What does that mean? Do I want to be crucified? I don't want to be crucified. But what I want to do as I become like him in his death is to do so with an absolute faith in God. Into your hands I commit my spirit, trusting in his grace. And then Paul says, and so somehow to attain to the resurrection from the dead. But there's a certainty of resurrection. So why does he say somehow? Do I need to work really hard so that my resurrection is assured? No, my resurrection is not based in what I do. It's based in what Jesus has done. It's based in his faithfulness, and I'm trusting in him. So my assurance is sure. But to attain to the resurrection of the dead, to be faithful in his faithfulness through life. I want to know Christ. It is in knowing Christ that I have this assurance of resurrection. Do you know Christ? Do you know Jesus? I hope you do. If you want to know more, leave a comment below. I'd be happy to answer your questions. I'd be really keen to introduce you to Jesus. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.